obligation has not been paid yet since it began charging. The current arrearage balance, Your Honor, is $2,638.50. Of that total, $2,262 is owed to the third-party guardian. The remainder of $338 is owed in medical support to the state, as well as $38.50 in fees. I can pull the payment history up for the court's review.
Thank you, Mr. Graff.
Good morning again, Your Honor. We're aware of the arrearage in the current monthly figure. Unfortunately, this is a sad situation. I think you take a look at Ariel when we came on, she was in tears because this is just tearing her up. She's a young mom. If you take a look, she was born in 2003, and so she was approximately 18 years old, if I do the math correctly, when Waylon was born, and she's had a difficult time trying to get on her feet. Unfortunately, she has an 11th grade education and she wants to work. She's been doing her best to try to get a job. And one of the hurdles in that is to get an identification. Apparently, it's my understanding she just got her birth certificate and her social security card, and she's anxious to start to get an ID so she can get working. Unfortunately, she has no income. She has no means. She has no license. She has no vehicle. She doesn't have a phone. She uses Wi-Fi, and so she doesn't have a working phone number. Apparently her food she gets from food pantries and because she lost her food stamps. And so Miss Barnes is in a really tough spot right now. But I think, Your Honor can see from her emotions that she wants to do her best to try to figure this out and make things right. Right now, she's living in Kalkaska with, I think, a friend and a boyfriend. She's not contributed any of the fees there, but she's hoping to obviously get a job and start to be able to contribute. I talked to her about a potential wage assignment. She was very open to that when she's able to get a job, she'd be more than happy to engage in a wage assignment to try to get things back in order and get some payments made. I'd ask the court to give her that opportunity. It sounds like things are moving slowly, but they may be moving in the right direction. I was impressed by the fact, not only of the emotion she showed, but the fact she said, I want to work and I'm trying. And the fact that she was anxious to obviously start making those payments. Again, this is a young mom who's in a tough spot. Obviously, I think even with a great and tremendous family support, it'd be a tough situation for a young woman to have a child. But apparently she doesn't have all those support systems, and things are even harder for her at this time.
So why is this money going to a guardian?
Your Honor, I can't speak to the specifics of that.
Well, is there a pending case? I mean, generally that's what's going on. You know as well as I do that's possible, correct?
Yes, all I have, Your Honor, is there was a case number. Apparently, it was initiated by Ms. Gorton on behalf of the prosecuting attorney's office back in April of 2022 on behalf of Ms. Toth. And then it looks like, as Mr. Hogue represented to the court, there was a default. And so that is where we stand right now with the payments. I don't know the underlying facts and circumstances why that was initiated.
Sure. That's not exactly what I'm looking for. It's just, Ms. Barnes, do you have an open case with DHHS?
Your Honor, I honestly do not know. If I do, I would like to know.
Yeah, I would think you would know. What I was getting at, Mr. Graff, is whether, the department's helping her achieve these. I'm not looking for the facts or to drag her through the mud and anything like that. It's going to a guardian. I didn't want to just assume that it was in a case, but I'm trying to guess in the dark here. So we can leave it out. It sounds like right now, ma'am, there is a manifest hardship right now to payments under these circumstances. I trust your attorney that you do want to work. You're moving toward getting an ID and all these things that sometimes we perhaps take for granted. So you have your social security card and your birth certificate now, ma'am?
Yes, Your Honor. I would like to tell you that Julie Toth held that against me because she didn't want me to get a job. She didn't want me to move up in life. And she's told me that multiple times. So I finally got it. I finally just got it. And since then I've been looking at jobs. I've been trying to get a job. I just got to find one that's closer to my house because I don't have a ride to work and home. I'm just trying to find one that's in a walking distance, Your Honor.
I think from what I can tell, it sounds like you're making every effort. So what I'm going to do is just adjourn this out 90 days and keep monitoring it. We don't need to contempt. We can forget about jail. We just want to make sure that that by then, hopefully, ma'am, you'll have a job and you'll be paying steadily and you won't even have to come and see me again. Okay. But in 90 days, if we're having a similar conversation, if it's kind of the same situation, I'll just, want to hear what's going on. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So
Just a question for the court. Would just thinking about the barriers that Ms. Barnes is dealing with right now and wondering, her case manager is actually Steve Greenman. He's also our family support court coordinator. I wonder if you have you reached out to Mr. Greenman at all, Ms. Barnes?
I talked to him not that long ago over the phone. I asked him because I have been trying to figure out if I am wanting to sign Waylon over just to my grandma, and I don't want to do it. I really don't. It just kills me because I just turned 20. I'm still trying to grow up. And I'm still trying to get a job to pay for my kid. But yes, I talked to him and I asked him about this court hearing because my grandma told me I had one May 5th and I didn't think I did. So I just asked him when my next court hearing was and he said May 11th and I said thank you. And that's the last I heard from him.
Okay, well, we're going to send you some information on
Yes.
family support court, and I'd like for you to reach back out to Mr. Greenman to talk to. Do you have a pen or anything to write this down? Doesn't have to be a pen; it can be a pencil, anything to write, or you can just remember. It'll be in your order too. But I when you talk to him, I'd like for you to mention the words family support court. Okay.
Okay.
Because that is a system where instead of running child support enforcement this way, where it's you have to you show cause why you should not be held in contempt, it's a facilitative program where we try to work with you to get you back on your feet, and that sounds like something that's more appropriate for your circumstances. And I agree with Mr. Hogue. So thank you
Now,
for bringing
Your
that up.
Honor, do you have the number? I have a pencil.
Someone will answer the phone. Let them know that you're calling about family support court. That's all you need to let them know. You're calling about family support court, and they will connect you with Mr. Greenman, who also just happens to be your case manager,
Okay, thank you so much.
which is kind of convenient.
So for the order, Mr. Hogue, I would like a finding that it would be a manifest hardship at this time, and we'll adjourn this out 90 days just to
Very good.
monitor, and we'll mail her information on family support court. But ma'am, I would like you to follow up. So if we come back
Yes,
in
Your
90
Honor, I will.
days, yeah, then I trust you. I just want to emphasize that if we come back in 90 days and you haven't contacted Mr. Greenman, I'll want to know why.
Okay.
But I think you can do it. I know that it sounds like you're having some issues with the phone, but you may have already reached out to him. So 90 days, hopefully in that time, we'll be in a different spot. It sounds like we
Yes,
will
sir.
because you're putting in the effort. The
Your
one
Honor, I
thing,
will try my best.
yeah, I think that's pretty evident. So what we'll do is adjourn it out 90 days. I am going to discharge Mr. Graff. I have to assess attorney fees, so that's another fee, but he's helped you today, so that's part of the way it works.
Okay.
If you would like an attorney at your next hearing, you will have to re-request, okay? Because I'm going to discharge Mr. Graff from the case for today's purposes.
Yes,
That
sir.
makes sense? Okay.
All right.
If you have questions, Zero, you can still call me. I don't want to leave you out on a limb. So if you have questions, you can call me.
Okay, thank you so
Motion
much.
Order show cause was
Thank
served
you
on
both.
Mr. Bach April
Thank you, Ms.
12th,
Barnes.
2023. And the most recent order regarding child support in this matter is the party's order for custody, support, and parenting time. That order was entered in September of 2022 and requires $292 a month in child support and medical support. That is based on the party's incomes, as well as a parental time offset for Mr. Bach of 156 overnights with the minor child, Luca. Since the case began charging, we have had 3 months that payments were received 2 months that Mr. Bach paid $342. So the current obligation plus 50, and then 1 month in May of this year that he's paid $1,950. So he's made some good progress. The issue is we've got a lot more months that have charged where nothing's been paid. So that's the challenge. The total arrearage balance at this point is $2,073. Of that $2,073, $1,739 is owed to the other party. $299 is owed to the state for medical support, and $35 is owed in fees. I could pull the payment history up for the court's review.
Okay, so Mr. Bach, what's been going on?
Well, Luca's mother and I have come to different arrangements with Luca. He's currently spending a lot more time with me than he has before, and like, he's here right now, and she's been telling me that it's okay, and that she's been wanting to get the payments lowered. I've been working, just been late on a couple payments. I thought that they were being immediately deducted from my paycheck, so I'm going to talk to my employer about making that arrangement.
Where do you work?
Harrington's by the Bay.
Mr. Hogue, do we show an active income withholding order in place?
We have an income withholding order for HM Management, which is also known as McGee's 72. I don't know if that's Harrington.
Yes, that is their same payroll services.
Yeah, and we have income withholding order that was sent out in September of 2022 for his current obligation plus some payments towards the arrears. And then it was another revised income withholding order went out in October of 2022 for same thing as current obligation plus payments towards the arrears. So the employer is definitely not withholding anything from Mr. Bach's paycheck. I don't know, are you a server, Mr. Bach?
No, I'm a chef.
It's not coming out of your paycheck, Mr. Bach.
So you're going to speak with them to see why? Because even if it doesn't come out, you're still responsible for paying it.
Right.
Okay. And you didn't notice since October of 22 that you haven't had any payments coming out of your check?
No, not. I mean, I noticed a couple times. That's why I made a larger payment, and I did make another 2 payments within the last week.
Sure, yeah, and I appreciate that. We're not talking about jail today, but we need to figure out how to get you on track. Just sounds like you're working full time, and maybe you have a custody arrangement that's changed. Any arrangement like that, sir, you need to notify the court if you want us to consider it, because we don't have any idea what people are doing, unless you tell us for the most part.
Okay, yeah. See, that's where it gets a little confusing on my end, because I don't want to make things harder for Luca than they need to be by having your level of involvement respectively. And I don't know what his mom has been saying. So
Well, I mean, it sounds like the two of you agreed to something, which means you must be working together somewhat effectively. So if the two of you could just provide whatever arrangement you have to the court signed by you, we'll account for that. But we don't know unless, coming to court on the show cause day and letting us know then is not great, because it means you have to be threatened with jail and all that kind of stuff just to be here. Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of a waste of everyone's time.
Sure, but I mean, if you didn't know, this is a time to ask, and I can answer some questions.
Thank you.
I'm not, like I said, I'm not interested in contempt necessarily right now. Certainly not jail, but a contempt finding would get you on a payment plan, and I think you'd have an incentive to pay. So this is kind of your warning, okay?
Okay.
Because what I'd like to see happen is you get the income withholding order in place, and then we don't have to mess around at all. You'd just be paying whenever you get paid.
Right.
That's the easiest. But it's been in place since October and we haven't had any payments. So you're going to either have to talk to them or make sure it's paid, or you're going to have to pay it somehow. Okay.
Okay.
So I'll adjourn this out 60 days, but just with the knowledge that, I mean, you are working and it's not a manifest hardship for you to be found in contempt. So I just want to make sure that this is kind of your warning and you understand that we got to get back on track.
Yes, sir.
And again, let us know any custody changes, because we don't know. I can't say for certain whether it'll change your child support, but we do need to know. And even for your own sake, if there are any enforcement issues that you have and you have a custody arrangement that is not the same as what the order is, we can't enforce it. Okay, so it's for your own protection, really.
So, Your Honor, Mr. Bach obviously knows how to make payments to our office because he's made payments on several months. So in the interim, until we get something that updates the care arrangement, then he's expected to begin making his payments or addressing the income withholding order issue with his employer and making sure they begin withholding. If any of those things happen, if payments start being made or the withholding is in place or care arrangement is updated, it's unlikely we would even need to be back in 60 days. So this is on Mr. Bach at this point. Motion order show cause was served on Mr. Oseki April 13th, 2023 for a show cause hearing on today's date. The most recent order regarding child support in this matter is the party's order for custody, support, and parenting time that was entered in December of 2017. That order requires $496 a month in child support. The most recent month where payments were received at the time I was preparing for the case was July of 2022. In July of 2022, $1,418.01 in total was paid. Currently, there is an outstanding balance of $4,981. Of that balance, $4,770 is owed to Ms. Wanacott. The remainder in $21 in fees and $190 in medical support to the state. I can pull the payment history up for the court's review, but just so the court is aware, most of the months that child support has been charging, there's been nothing paid.
Thank you. Mr. Oseki, what's been going on?
Essentially, I've been out of work for over a year, and I just started working again. So up until recently, I've just not had an income.
Where are you working?
Lear Manufacturing.
Do we have an income withholding order there?
Check, Your Honor.
Sure, and I'm asking Mr. Oseki as well. Have you gone to your employer to get an income withholding order in place to get paid? Why aren't we getting payments?
I just started working there like 3 weeks ago. So I just started getting paid.
What were you doing for a year off? Didn't you say you weren't working for a whole year?
Correct.
What were you doing?
I'm sorry, I just wasn't working, essentially. Just at my apartment. I mean, I've been going through a lot of issues, and then I've just started to get back on track recently in the last few months. So I know I'm behind on quite a few things, but that is why I'm currently behind on child support.
Ms. Wanacott, anything you'd like to add?
I do know that he's been going through a hard time, which I am sympathetic toward. I have as well. So, like, I'm not trying to make matters worse by any means. But it's just frustrating for me because I don't get that option to just not work when I'm going through a hard time because I'm solely taking care of our child. So The lack of payments has caused me to be behind on quite a few bills. Most recently, my association has threatened to take me to court because I haven't been able to pay my association fee in over a year. So I just took out a loan with 163% APR because my credit is so bad, because I have not been getting my child support payments and able to pay my bills. It's something I'm working to repair right now, my credit. But I had to take that loan out so I could repay my association all of those fees so they would not take me to court. So like I said, I'm understanding, but yeah, we're all kind of going through hard times right now. So.
Okay, thank you. Well, from my perspective, you've got a job, so we want to keep you working, sir. You'll need to keep that job because I can't really find any reason why you haven't been paying. I mean, taking a year off is confusing. So especially when you know you're supposed to be paying nearly $500 a month to your child. So I don't find that there's any manifest hardship or that there's any reason other than you knew you were supposed to pay and you didn't pay. You weren't working. You weren't looking for work even, it sounds like. So I'm going to find you in contempt. You're going to be on a 2-year payment plan. You need to pay what's owed plus $87 a month. If you fail to do so, a bench warrant could be issued for your arrest and you may have to serve up to 30 days in jail. I'm going to set bond at $800. So basically, if you pay as you owe plus the 87 a month, everything's the same as right now. It's just if you take another year off or just hang out and not pay, you might have a bench warrant out for your arrest. Okay.
Okay. And so that just means pay the $500 a month and then 87 on top of that.
That's correct. Because we're trying to knock down some of that arrears. So if you look at it, you got $4,000 in arrears. There's been a lot of non-payment, sir. But again, I want to emphasize, as long as you pay, you're not in trouble yet. Okay. I mean, you're in contempt, but if you don't pay, that's when the bench warrant could be issued. I don't want to talk about jail because I don't want you there. That doesn't make any sense. Okay. But like sometimes when I look at it, if you're not in jail and not paying, what's the difference between being in jail and not paying? I mean, it doesn't make any difference. But you've got a job, so we're on the right track, I think, sir. That's the part that I want to emphasize is I think there are some positives here. This is just kind of hopefully a wake-up call and an incentive for you. Okay, thank you. Oh,
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I just wanted to for both parties to be aware that an income withholding order was sent to Lear Corporation, and it looks like it was just sent a few days ago. So you might want to check with your HR department, Mr. Osecki, to make sure they've received it, because what that means is the child support plus the arrearage amount that the court has already indicated needs to be paid should automatically be withheld from your paycheck. So if you're paid weekly, $135.52 will come out. If you're paid bi-weekly, $271.03 should be withheld. Those are numbers that you should be looking for coming out of your paycheck. And if they are, then your support is being paid. And you don't have to worry about a bench warrant issuing for your arrest. Jeremy Ho, in front of the court. So check with your HR department, make sure they've received that. Hoppy, now known as Lentz versus Amanda Ray, file number 2019-15397-DZ. A motion order show cause was served on Miss Ray April 13th, 2023. The order regarding child support in this matter is the party's order for custody, support, and parenting time. It was entered in June of 2020. The current obligation is $354 a month. This is Miss Ray's first show cause hearing. There have been previous delinquency notices sent, but no other show cause hearings. The outstanding balance at this time is $6,587.93. I believe that this is is this a foster care case, Miss Lentz?
No, it's guardianship.
Guardianship. So there's $5,120 in child support. $626.69 in medical support. There's also some outstanding fees that have not been paid. The most recent payment made on this case goes all the way back to December of 2021, and it looks like we had an income withholding order in place at that time. And maybe Ms. Ray lost her job in December of 2021 because there was only a partial payment of $75.77. That's the last time this account has been paid.
Okay, Ms. Ray, what's been going on?
I haven't worked. I'm currently going through a lot of medical issues, and my doctor and I are working on getting put on Social Security disability.
Where are you at in that process?
We haven't even filed yet. I just got through with my doctor's appointment, and I have to go to community mental health. I have to start there, and I haven't not made their appointment yet. I just seen her Monday.
You have an appointment coming up on Monday?
I just seen my doctor on Monday, and I have to make an appointment with community mental health.
Okay.
She's a psychiatrist.
Do you have any paperwork you could submit to your caseworker so we could verify that?
Yeah. Who is my caseworker?
Aaron Sanchez is your caseworker.
Okay.
And so based on this issue, are you able to work? I mean, our last payment was in 2021, so I'm just trying to figure out what's been going on since that time.
I was unaware that I was supposed to be paying child support. I didn't ever, I don't have my current address that you guys have for me is not where I get my mail. So I haven't seen anything. So I wasn't even positive that I had to pay child support. When I was working at Shell, money started coming out for it. And that was the first I had seen or knew anything about it.
Is that the last time you worked?
Yes.
But then you would have known that you had child support from that time until now, right?
I guess, but it was misunderstanding between my mom and my guardian, who has my guardianship. I was unaware that was a part of this at all. So I was just, I don't know. I guess it's just poor communication. I don't know. I see my daughter very, very often. She is here at least half of the week. And so I was just very confused as to why I had to pay child support to begin with, because I didn't ever have a hearing or anything. I thought it was supposed to be an agreement between my mom and I.
Ms. Lentz, anything you'd like to add or say?
Yeah, I myself was not aware of the child support order. It's always been from the very beginning when we took guardianship, my husband and I, like it was never established that she had to pay child support. And she does have her a lot. I mean, that was the whole purpose was, she was struggling at the time, and she has struggled, but she has us as support, when she does struggle for whatever reason, mental or whatever. But when I got this in the mail, I was like, I called because I was like, wait a minute, I didn't know, you know what I mean? And, so yeah, I mean, I just thought we were kind of, Amanda and Todd and I were working together to kind of co-parent Adeline. And we were like, eventually it was going to be, Amanda was going to get her back. And, Todd and I would just be the grandparents. But Amanda, like she admitted, she's got some mental problems and it's a little bit overwhelming sometimes. For her. I mean, it's overwhelming for me sometimes at 55, but I have my husband. So she doesn't have a support person other than us. I don't want Amanda to go to jail. I think that would be the absolute worst thing for Adeline right now. I know it would be.
Sure. Well, let's just take jail off the table now, so we don't even have to worry about it. Okay. But
Thank
ma'am, there is a valid order in place, and if this money is all whatever's owed to you, you could waive if you want to do that.
I did. I called Karen last week and I was like, I want to just waive that because there's no way Amanda's ever gonna break even, let alone get ahead when she does get a job, if she can get a job. And I don't know if she gets Social Security, if they can garnish that. Like, I don't know. And I was like, Adeline's dad's already in prison. Like, the last thing she needs is her mom going to jail. I said, so I just want to waive it all. I don't want
The issue we have right now is that all of the child support is currently shown as owing to the state of Michigan, which is more typical in a foster care situation. So I have submitted an inquiry with our accounting department to figure out whether or not any of this money should be owed directly to the guardian. Because if that's the case, some of these balances could transfer as showing they're owed to you, Ms. Lentz. And when that happens, any of that amount you can forgive. Unfortunately, you can't forgive money that's owed to another party. And right now the system shows it's owed to the state of Michigan. So we're gonna get that sorted out. And I can guarantee you we'll get that sorted out. I'm wondering if maybe the court could consider adjourning this matter for a period of time until we can get that figured out for these parties.
I'd like to get it figured out, but I'm going to dismiss it for today. I don't want to just adjourn it. This sounds like an arrangement that they've tried to do through their family. I don't want any more threats of jail on this one because we got to figure it out. Now, he's right. If it's owed to the state, we'll have to figure something out, ma'am. But if this was I don't want to speculate as to why it would be owed to the state right now, because I could be wrong and there's no reason for me to speculate. Okay. But what we want you both to do, Ms. Ray, you're going to be on the hook for this part too, is you need to reach out to Ms. Sanchez and talk to her. Okay. We need to have you are ordered to have your current address, you're ordered to provide that to this court. So when you say we don't have it, it's because you didn't give it to us. Okay.
Okay.
So we need that information.
I wasn't aware that I had to. I'm sorry. I'm very sorry for that.
Well, just so you're aware, because one thing I would hate to have happen too is we mail you something and then you don't get it, and then there's a warrant out there because you failed to appear. Okay,
right.
So just make sure. What I really want you to do is I'll dismiss this because it sounds like the two of you are going to be working on it. And Mr. Hogue, I mean, he has referred this to the front of the court, and I know that once he starts looking into it, he will likely solve that or figure it out. But it doesn't mean that order is not in place. Okay, I'm just dismissing the show cause. So in other words, Ms. Ray, and it sounds like Ms. Lentz is willing to help you, but we got to figure out what's going on. Okay, because we have a valid order that's going to stay in place. And I don't want to have to enforce it. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
But that'll be on Ms. Ray. I mean, it sounds like I said, Ms. Lentz is helping, but Ms. Ray, that is going to be your responsibility to contact your caseworker and help that person find out what's going on.
Okay.
And any medical information that you have that may corroborate, I guess, your statements that you can't work would be helpful too, because we don't want you on this docket for no reason. Okay, we're trying to work with everybody.
Okay, thank you.
Is there any reason, Ms. Ray, you couldn't share your address information with us now? If you share it on the record, I can update our system. 686. We'll update your address and get figured out whether or not the money is appropriately due to the state of Michigan or whether or not it's actually due to Ms. Lentz. And your case manager or someone from our office will be in touch with you, with each of you. Thank you.
Can I ask what the medical part is? Because I don't understand that. Like, I know you guys are in a hurry and we're running way behind, but like, we carry medical insurance on her, and then she's got Medicaid as a
It's not
secondary.
medical for
So
the
I
child.
don't,
It's not medical for the child. It's whether or not Ms. Ray can work. So she's been ordered to
Oh,
show cause
okay.
why she should not be held in
Okay.
contempt. Sometimes when people come in and they have medical issues, they can't work because they are unable to work. And that's what
Okay,
I'm trying
okay.
to ask her. Sounds like that may be her situation. And we just need some paperwork, because coming in on the show cause day and saying that doesn't help me, because I need to figure out what's going on. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
So it has
all
nothing
right.
to do really with the child. It's whether Ms. Ray can
Okay.
work.
All right. I was just hearing medical and I was like, wait a minute, like she's covered. I know she is. Like, I'm taking her to the dentist
Yeah,
today
when
with
they-
our insurance. So
Yeah, it's not medical care for the child. It's whether or not, because we've got an order in place that says she has to pay, and I got to figure out why she's not paying. I mean, that's about as.
And oh, sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt. I never got an order. I never received an order to pay in the mail or anywhere. Like,
Yeah, but you're not ordered to
this
pay,
was-
so.
no, I mean, I didn't receive an order that I was to get paid or that she was to pay child support. I never received one. I have a whole file down here and I have nothing, no paperwork that says anything about her being ordered to pay child support.
Right, but if it's already ordered to the state, they wouldn't send that. They wouldn't send that to you, because the state's.
Oh,
the
okay.
recipient. So
Okay.
there's
all right.
an order that says that Ms. Ray has to pay, and we got to figure out to whom or what entity, or whether it's to you or whatever. We'll figure that
Okay.
out, but we'll
Okay.
need Ms. Ray to contact the office.
The
And
notice of
help her
adjournment
caseworker
was
figure that
mailed
out
to the
too,
parties
okay?
March 23rd, 2023, adjourning the matter from the April 20th date to today's date and appointing counsel for Mr. Charters. The most recent order regarding child support in this matter is the party's original order for custody, support, and parenting time that was entered in May of 2022. That order requires $919 a month in child support for 2 children. There have not been any payments made on the case since it began charging. There's currently an outstanding balance of $11,073.50. Of that outstanding balance, $10,452 is owed to the other party. The remainder in fees, as well as medical support to the state of Michigan for Meridian or Medicaid health insurance. I can pull the payment history up for the court's review, but there is no payment history other than charges.
Thank you, Mr. Graff.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, we're aware of obviously the ordered amount. Obviously, we got the updated balance today. As this court may or may not be aware, this has been a highly litigated case on the other side, and we're not here to deal with those issues. And obviously, if there is an issue regarding the underlying support amount, that would have to be dealt with or resolved at another date. Obviously, at $919, any payments, you jump a balance up about $1,000 a month. And so here we are at a rearage of about just over 11,000 now. My client has indicated to me that he's not working. He used to do design and working on cars at Legacy Molding. He last worked last year. Apparently, for a period of time, he was working full time. His hours got reduced. And then ultimately he ceased working, given the fact that his hours have been reduced so significantly, as well as some health issues. He's indicated to me that he suffers from scoliosis, and I'm probably not going to say this right, hypopituitarism, if I'm saying that right, as well as some other medical issues. Apparently he's got a primary care physician as well as specialists. He's seen an endocrinologist, a pulmonologist, and I believe someone in urology. He was in the process of applying for disability last time, or originally when we talked back in April. I can't speak to obviously the status of any application for disability at this time. It's my understanding that he has no income. Apparently his brother is his landlord. He's not paying any rent. His neighbor comes by and provides him with food, and he hasn't paid the utilities in months. He owns no property other than a vehicle, a 2006 Volvo, which apparently owes about over $4,000 for the loan on that. He's got no stocks, no bonds. His retirement account has been depleted. He has no real property. Apparently he has a number of debts that are outstanding, which he's not making payments on. And so things are piling up for Mr. Charters. Obviously, the court needs to start getting money towards this arrearage. I think Mr. Charters understands that. Moving forward, either he's got to finalize his disability or he's got to find employment, or both. But obviously, this arrearage is going to continue to climb quite significantly at over $900 a month. I think Mr. Charters understands if he doesn't get things under control, the next stop, unfortunately, probably is going to be felony charges. And then that's not what we want to see. Apparently, as I understand things, I've never been to Wyoming. I'm not familiar with it, but Pavilion is a very small town. Apparently, the next closest town is Riverton, which is about 30 minutes away. And so it is quite a distance just to find a place with, I guess, more opportunities for employment. But that said, unfortunately, given his efforts, he's not been able to find employment at all. And for those reasons, Your Honor, we asked the court to consider not holding Mr. Charters in contempt, giving him the opportunity to either finalize his issues with disability and or find employment. If the court wants, I'm sure that Mr. Charters would oblige with any order requiring him providing medical documentation regarding any afflictions he has in order to substantiate the information that he's provided to me. But I think that obviously the court has his attention that as this climbs, it's going to climb quite fast. And the faster it climbs, the faster he becomes more of a target for potential criminal charges. And that's not what he wants to see happen here.
Thank you, Ms. Charters. Anything you'd like to say or add?
I don't think so at this time, Your Honor. Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Yeah, Amanda Charters. Sometimes it sounds like I'm saying Ms. or Mr., but Amanda Charters.
I don't think I have anything to add at this time, Your Honor.
All right. So here's what I'm willing to do is accept some medical paperwork on what Mr. Graff is stating. I mean, I can't, if those issues are true, and I have no reason to doubt Mr. Graff, it's possible this court will be making a finding that you can't work. But I need some medical paperwork before anything would cease. I mean, I would agree at $9.19 a month, this is just going to grow. So we have to keep that in mind if we're just going to sit around and wait to see, because, you know, what's going on with a disability claim, because I have not seen one be resolved in any what I would consider to be any timely manner. I have no idea. Oftentimes when I'm working with this, it's there's always a initial denial, and then people are they're appealing. So I'm not ceasing this valid court order of the child support, and it'll grow. And I think Mr. Graff is right that at a certain point, it does become the prosecutor's office becomes interested because it's a large amount, and then it becomes a felony issue, which we don't want. But I don't want you to be in jail. If you can work, I want you to work and pay. That's the simplest thing. If you can't work, we have to work with it in a different way on our end. But not paying anything. I mean, you don't have anything at all you can pay, sir?
I have had absolutely zero that I could pay, because if I did, it would be somebody else's money, because other people are helping me to literally survive physically. And so I have not even had $10 or $20 a month to put toward anything. And there are more health issues and hospitalizations than were listed, but that's kind of what makes the disability claim a little complicated, is I have to focus on just one of them or maybe two. And so they're refining what they want me to focus on for the disability, even though collectively all of them together are devastating. So yeah, I have had nothing in the way of income for many months, and I have had a very hard time of it for the past 3 years.
All right, so we're going to need to see any medical paperwork to corroborate that. And I'll draw this out 60 days and see where we are. I don't think at this point I want to discharge Mr. Graff. Mr. Graff, I'm going to keep you on for our next hearing so that we can see what's going on at that time. Obviously, it would be the attorney fee per hearing, but I don't want to just discharge you because it sounds like we're going to be back. I mean, unless we've got information that outright says you can't work, sir, we'll have to try to figure out what's going on, because and maybe you have that information. I don't know. That's the thing. It's not, I'm not doubting what anyone's saying. We just need the
A
information.
notice of adjournment was mailed
that's
to
what's
Mr.
more
Cavus
helpful.
February 13th, 2023, adjourning the matter from March 2nd to today's date. The most recent order regarding child support in this matter is the party's fourth order modifying their order for custody support and parenting time. That requires $389 a month in child support and medical support. The most recent payment made in this case is in the month of April, this past April, $2,000 was paid. So the $389 was paid in full, and $1,611 went towards the arrearage balance. So significant payments. There has been previous enforcement, previous contempt findings, and previous bench warrants issued in this case, largely as a result of the fact that Mr. Cavus continues to be just very intermittent in when he makes his support payments. Currently, there's an outstanding balance in spite of the large payment towards the arrearage last month. There remains an outstanding balance of $7,047.21. Of that amount, $5,399.95 is owed to the other party. The remainder, there's $580.50 in fees, $916.76 in medical support owed to the state of Michigan, and $150 in costs related to the issuance of previous bench warrants. I can pull the payment history up for the court's review.
All right, sir. So what's been going on?
Nothing other than I finally was able to get the squatters out of my house and not paying rent and sold my house. That's why I was able to cough up some cash, and life is going to resume. I sold a house in the beginning of December, and I've had squatters living in there ever since. And I just finally got them out. It was a long, expensive legal process, and it sucked. I finally got to sell my house, and that life is normal now. I don't have an excuse. That's it. Them squatters screwed me, man. I just tried to be nice. They gave me $2,000 in December. I thought they were going to be genuine, and ghosted me. A nice older couple, and they screwed me over a lot. I had to pay 2 different rents. Now I'm done.
Are you working?
Oh yeah, I have a successful company in Glen Arbor.
Okay.
That was just $700 of lot rent, so I didn't get kicked out of quote unquote my house, because the part could still evict me from owning it, and I would have been even extra screwed. So paying an entirely huge bill on top of my own rent and my 2 full custody kids was just a bit much. But right now and on, my life just got a lot easier financially.
Okay. Well, there's some positives, and you paid that $2,000 in April. So we're not talking about jail, but there is an issue I have. So I can appreciate that circumstance. But part of this is there's no way that accounts for $7,000. Okay. That's been a long time coming of non-payment for a while. Okay.
Oh yeah. 10 years or so. Yeah. I went times without jobs and stuff. Yes, sir.
So I'm not gonna, we're not talking about jail today for you. Okay. You're getting back on track. That seems like it would be kind of a waste of time to have you in jail, but I am gonna find that you can pay and haven't been paying, and it's not a manifest hardship. So I'm gonna make a contempt finding and put you on a 2-year payment plan. What that's gonna mean is if you pay as ordered, you're not gonna worry about jail or anything, okay? But we need the monthly payment plus 87 a month for 2 years. And if you fail to do so, a bench warrant could be issued for your arrest, and you may have to serve up to 30 days in jail, which again I don't think that's benefiting anyone. Because like you said, you're working, and you've resolved your other issues, but I need some sort of incentive, I think, for you to pay regularly, quite frankly.
Yeah, the incentive is just being responsible, and the kid's moving in with me at the end of the school year. I think that's 3 Mondays is what he says. So there's going to be no money at all in 3 weeks. Not that that's relevant to you right this very moment, but he's moving in with me, and then I'll have 3 full custody kids, and maybe she'll have to pay me, or it will just negate or something like that. But that's for me to do. It's only 3 weeks away. So,
but those are circumstances. Please, this doesn't always happen, but please let your caseworker know whatever's changing or whatever's going on.
Oh, yes, sir. Instantly. Yes, sir. I know that the system can kind of screw you there. Yes, sir.
Well, I mean, it's on adults to tell the court. It's not the system.
There you go.
But I see I know what you mean. But
Yes, sir.
to finish my finding, and then we can kind of talk about that in a second. So if there is a bench warrant, sounds like you're going to pay, we're not going to have an issue. But if there's a bench warrant issued, I'm going to set bond at $500. So again, if you pay, we don't have to worry about it. It's just because we're getting intermittent payments. If you're paying, then we don't have to. If you don't pay, then we don't have to come back here and have a hearing. Quite frankly, it'd just be a warrant. But
Yeah.
if those other custody issues are ongoing or about to occur, make sure you're in touch with your caseworker, because you will want this addressed on your child support. I suspect.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Immediately. Yeah.
Okay.
Very good.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
We'll stay adjourned.
That's it.
That's it.
Okay.
A notice of
Thank you.
adjournment was
Cool.
mailed to
Thanks
the
for your time.
parties
Thank you.
February 13th, 2023, adjourning the matter from March 2nd to today's date. There is a current child support obligation. That obligation is based on the party's third order modifying their order for custody support and parenting time entered in July of 2014. That order requires $211 a month in child support. I would indicate that the minor child's current emancipation date looks to be September 21st of 2023. So there's not a whole lot longer before the child is 18. However, depending on whether or not the child remains enrolled in school full-time, high school full-time, and hasn't graduated, then support could continue through this next school year, but I don't know what grade the child is in at this point. Most recent payment made was in May this month. $97.04 was paid. Total arrearage balance at this point, Your Honor, is $1,787.96. Of that amount, $1,532.78 is owed to the other party. The remainder in medical support to the state, as well as fees. There's not been a lot of enforcement over the course of this case. There have been many times that Ms. Harrigan has contacted our office indicating that Mr. Stokes had made some direct payments to her, and all of those payments have, over the course of time, been credited. But the last payment made through the system was $97.04 this month. I can pull the payment history up for the court's review.
Well, he sounds like he's only about 5 months behind, right? So he must have been paying regularly. If he only owes about $1,000, it's $211 a month. He must have been paying regularly for a long time.
Yes, sir, I was.
There have been, I'm sorry, it was May of 2022. That was the last payment made through the system. We have received, and at that time, I would indicate that his account was current in May of 22. Since that time, looks like we've received notification of direct payments 2 different times, but there's not been any payment made through the system. So that's, yeah, he's only about 5 months behind.
Okay, so Mr. Stokes, it sounds like we've got you got an arrear, so we got to talk about that, but it sounds like you're making some payments, just not through the system.
Well, like he said, I haven't been employed since February of 2022. I'm a registered nurse. I went through some, anxiety, depression issues with work. I was having panic attacks. My doctor recommended I take some time off. Ultimately, I was let go because of a reduction in the quality of my work performance. And my director of nursing was reluctant to do this, but he had to let me go. So I haven't worked. I've been working with my doctor for a year on this. I do have some income, and I was making cash payments to Ruth Ann over the past many months, probably about $900. And then those were credited to the account. And then actually the last payment I gave her of, I think it was $250, she returned to me because the friend of the court said that she was no longer able to accept cash payments from me. So yes, long story short, over the last year, the payments have not been consistent. David will graduate this year. He's turning 18 in September. And I plan to have my short-term and long-term plan is to have this account at a zero balance when he graduates. Or I'm sorry, by the time he turns 18. So,
well, and I think that's a good plan. So a couple things, if I got a couple questions for you. So one,
Yes.
do you have a problem paying those cash payments through the court?
no, I just haven't, Ruth Ann sent me a link for something I can pay. I can pay online. And I have not done that yet.
Well, you can pay cash. I mean, why don't we do the other question
Well,
is,
I haven't been driving. I haven't driven a car in a year. So
yeah,
I haven't.
that probably leads into my next question, which is, do you have any of the medical paperwork you could provide your caseworker?
I do. Well, I have FMLA paperwork. It's not current. I have FMLA paperwork that my doctor gave me. Actually, my director of nursing gave it to me. He said, "Hey, you need this." That's all I have, I guess. You know, and I have some notes from doctor visits. I've been seeing him regularly for for 7 or 8 years, but it's Dr. Robert Kuhn. And yes, I have paperwork that I could supply him that I've received over the last year.
Well, that anything that you think would be helpful for us to understand why you're not working, if you could submit that would be great. Okay.
Yeah, I will do that.
And it's going to be it's not just going to be great. It's going to be in your court order. I will adjourn this out 90 days. I like the issue is you've got a little bit of an arrears, but you're not that far behind. It sounds like to me, what the main issue here is you're paying your co-parent, which all the money's going there anyway, right? But we can't account for it. And then we're trying to figure that out. So what I would like, Mr. Hogue, if you could mail him the brochure on all the different ways to pay, because there are a million different ways to pay, sir. And it's good information so that you could find a way. In other words, you could find a way that's going to work for you to pay. If you're not driving, you can still get money to the court because the money goes to the child. I mean, this isn't, you're not paying me. So
no, I understand that. Thank you,
so we're just trying to make sure your child receives the support.
Yes.
And it doesn't, in other words, this isn't a situation where it sounds like you're neglecting it or trying not to help. We just got to get you on track paying through the system. Okay. And the medical information would be helpful too.
Right.
Yes. Okay.
Because that could keep us from having to come to court on an enforcement issue like this.
Yes, thank you. And I appreciate that, Your Honor.
But that's going to be on you to turn that stuff in. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes.
So we'll adjourn this out 90 days and really by then we'll just be checking in because it sounds like your son will be 18 in a month after that, or I'm approximating things, but correct. I would like to have a conversation with you about where we're at that time.
Right. Okay.
All right.
Beautiful.
Thank you.